Welcome to the True Colours podcast, where we share our views on life, relationships, and culture, exploring big questions and providing simple answers to them, with your hosts, Jay Claire and Sally Olver. Welcome to the True Colours podcast. Hey, Southstar, how are you?
Good evening, friend. How are you?
I'm good. We're doing video today.
We are.
Yes, you've got a very bright room.
Jason got his lipstick on for our viewers and listeners.
I'm having a candlelight dinner by myself, as you can see with the ambient.
Yeah. So if you're listening and not viewing this, you can hear his lipstick. Yeah.
You can hear his lipstick.
Mm.
Right. So this week we've got an interesting topic to talk about. This came from the Sally files. So the three things we're going to talk about this week, hopefully we can get to all three, but the first one is honesty the best policy? What does it mean to be vulnerable? And finally, are people getting offended too easily? Lots of big questions there, Sally.
Yeah, big questions. We've gone straight in for week 2, episode 2. Woo!
Straight into the deep end.
Whoa! I think we can do it.
You think we can do it? Okay, so
yeah,
let's start with, is honesty the best policy? So, did you want to lead here? What's your thoughts there?
Well, this is actually really interesting because as I get older, I realise that the characteristic that I respect most in a person is sincerity. Like people go, oh, what do you like? What is it that attracts you to someone? Is it because they're funny? Is it because they're smart? What is it? For me, I've realised sincerity. If someone is transparent and sincere, I really rate that in a person. And I think that's reflective of the circle of friends we have, the people that we let in. Generally speaking, the majority of them are quite sincere by nature, right? However, I don't think honesty is always the best policy. And, okay, I think two things. Number one, I don't think honesty is the best policy all the time. And number two, what I don't like is people that use honesty, in my air quotes, honesty, as a vehicle to just be nasty. It's like, oh, well, I'm just being honest. I'm just speaking my mind. It's like, okay, right, you're being quote unquote honest, but you're actually being really obnoxious as well. So in that context, I don't think honesty is the best policy. Like sometimes, like you're having a discussion or something and someone's opinion can be quite aggressive or quite attacking in nature.
Yeah, so it lacks a certain sense of tact. They don't.
But it's like it's shrouded in, I'm just being honest. But no,
you're just a piece of shit.
Yeah. And we don't rate you, so you need to move on. Yeah, so that's my take on it. What's yours? What do you reckon?
I think honesty is always the best policy. It is like one of my mantras in life to be as honest as I possibly can. It's actually, to your point, is one of the most appealing characteristics I think in people. You know, a lot of the time you can appreciate people's candidness rather than their flippant bullshit. You know, I prefer to be told exactly how it is rather than someone pretending to be something to make you feel better. There's no point. Like, I'd rather hear the truth than have it sugar-coated. I think especially in the workplace, I think this is a really prevalent thing where, say, like at our workplace at the moment, where my boss, who's much younger than me, he's trying to really pushed down. He's been reading this book called Radical Candor, and basically it's about being as honest as you possibly can. You know,
Great
obviously you
title.
do it in the right way.
Awesome
But
title.
yeah, I can't remember. It's written by. Let me double check. Who is that written by? Radical Candor. But like it was even in another book that I read by Jack Welch, the old CEO of General Electric. He was like the CEO for ages, and one of his actual tenets of being a great leader was radical candor. So this book was written by Kim Scott, Radical Candor.
Yeah, but what bothers me, be truthful, but I think what bothers me is in the spirit that it's given. So maybe that's a different issue. Like some people they hide behind the fact that they're being honest when really they're just being contrary. You know what I mean? And all right, here's an example, right?
Yeah.
Say I got this haircut that just looked really bad.
Yeah.
But I like it. Are you? Because honesty is the best policy. Are you gonna?
Yes.
Are you gonna have a go? Oh, well, okay. Well, that again, bad example because it's you and me, so you're allowed to say that to me. But just say a co-worker. Would you say to that, man, what have you done to your hair? Would you say that?
Yes. I'd be like, dude, what is going on with your hair? That's ridiculous.
You would not.
Yeah, I would.
Would you seriously do that?
Yeah, I tell people when their hair looks good, and I tell them when it looks bad. I'll be like, there's a guy at work, Will, and I always go to him, oh, your hair's looking really good today. And he'll be like, thank you.
What's Will's secret? Is he using good?
I don't know. He doesn't look like he washes it, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, that's what it is. All those natural oils.
Yeah.
Go Will. Shout out.
But I'm gonna flip this as well, right? So, what do you when it comes to honesty and your children?
Yeah.
What do you reckon there?
I'm super honest to my children, but they're my kids. So that's how I choose to raise. I choose to raise them in quite a matter of fact fashion.
So no white lies.
Oh, hey, I didn't even want to. This is going to really disturb a lot of our listeners. I didn't even want to lie to them about Santa.
Yeah, I was the same.
I didn't even want to. I was like, my whole thing was, I'm not going to tell them that he's not real, but I'm not going to not tell them either. So if they find out, then my answer was always this. My answer was always, well, what do you think? And Nathaniel being so clever, he was about 5, comes to me and he's like, Mum, is Santa real? Me, well, what do you think? And he's like, you can't tell me that one dude gets around to every kid on the face of this earth in one night. He's not real, is he, Mum? And I'm like, well, interesting point that you raised, son.
Just Google it, mate.
So anyway, he's ruined it for his sister. Poor thing.
He told her?
Yeah, it's like, Molly Bell, there's no Santa. And I'm like...
Did you tell him the rule, though, you're not supposed to say?
Oh. He's autistic. He's just... And if you want honesty, speak to an ASD kid. They'll give you honesty.
Well, that's why sometimes
they are like my measure. Like if I'm sort of like, I'm like, oh, do I like this person? I'm not quite sure. They are my measure. They will always let me know when someone's great or if someone's a little bit.
Well, that's why I kind of sometimes think that I might be like slightly on the spectrum because of how
I would not disagree with that.
You're the first person who said that. I'm like,
No, I wouldn't
sometimes
disagree. My personal diagnosis, I think you've got ADHD for sure.
ADHD. What is ADHD specifically?
Okay, I'll break it down. So they actually, it used to be ADD and ADHD. Okay, ADD is attention deficit disorder. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Right. So I would say that now they've just blanketed it and they just call it straight out ADHD. But I would say Sammy's ADD and Nathaniel's ADHD. So Samuel has attention deficit, but Nathaniel is hyperactive and has an attention deficit, which is you, my friend, without a doubt. But, and I say that with love. Oh, there you go. Honesty being the best policy is the theme of tonight.
We're being honest.
Yeah, we're being honest. But they say that a lot of successful people are ADHD because this is a very, very general statement, but ADHD, generally speaking, ADHD people are very bright, and their thoughts are like, and I know yours are. Yours are always, you can't stay on topic for like 3 seconds.
And that's why, I cannot stay on topic at all. That's why I struggle. That's why I've struggled.
Okay, though. That's all right.
That's why I've really struggled over the years with staying in a singular job as well.
Yeah. Well,
like, I kind of know this now.
Yeah. But that's because you're highly intelligent. I feel anyone that I've come into contact with who's had ADHD, and there's a few, like I know quite a few adults with ADHD. I think I've got a touch of it myself because I can't stay on task. It's just, I'm a mess. I'm so disorganized, I'm focused. You and I mean, generally a conversation between you and I, we're always talking over the top of each other because our minds are going so fast. But I could see a little bit of spectrum about you, mate.
Keep it real.
Keep it in the family. What's another one?
All right, so that's honesty. So I think we've got a bit of a consensus there that honesty is well and truly the best policy. It's who wants fakeness at the end of the day.
I don't think it's the same thing. It doesn't make you fake if you've filtered your sometimes I think it's thoughtful actually to think, do I really need to say that? I think it's heavily dependent on the circumstance.
This is the way I would put it. Is like I wouldn't actively just be like, "Oh, dude, you got a shit haircut." If someone went to me and went up to me and went, "What do you think about my haircut?" I'll be like,
"Oh yeah."
Well, if you're asking me for my professional hair opinion, because I know a lot about hair.
Yeah. Under that beanie, there's just a Rapunzel mane, isn't there?
It's basically an afro, yeah.
Flowing.
It's a transparent afro.
You see right through it.
Yeah. All right. Next topic.
Next topic. What's the next topic?
We are going down the realms of our good friend Brene Brown.
Love you, Brene. Poor Brene.
I just want to know what Brene is like. Did they want to call her Brenda and Renee, and it ended up becoming Brene?
Hybrid.
Yeah, I don't like it.
We love Brene though.
So what does it mean to be vulnerable? This is obviously something you've wanted to talk about in regards to vulnerability. What does vulnerability mean to you?
Sincerity.
I think
in order to be vulnerable, you need to be sincere and you need to be courageous as well. You need to be brave because being vulnerable is scary. Are you
Yeah,
vulnerable, Jason?
I'm always vulnerable. I always put myself out there as much as I possibly can.
You're very vulnerable. Yeah.
I like.
It takes a lot of maturity, I think, to be vulnerable. A lot of maturity. I think you've got to be in a really good place, a really secure place within yourself to be vulnerable. Or if you are being vulnerable with a friend, I think that speaks a lot. It speaks volumes to the nature of your friendship. Because
Can you give me an example of what would so if you think vulnerability in general is lacking in society at the moment? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, come on, have a look at social media. Vulnerable in the wrong ways. Vulnerable doesn't mean getting your buns out. You know what I mean? That's not vulnerable.
Instagram famous, yeah.
That is not what vulnerability is.
I think that's called self-exploitation, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you know what? Good on them.
Sometimes
it's great. It's great.
Sometimes I wish I was a hot chick with big tits because that would make my life so much easier. I would just become Instagram famous.
In what way, Jason? How would that be easier for you?
Well, I would just be an Instagram model.
And then
I'm good at
what does an Instagram model even do?
They just get their cans out and people be like, yes, wait, I'm following this. There is absolutely no criteria absolutely except for being hot and having big boobs.
Jason, you would not last 5 minutes.
I would excel. Be like, hey.
Jason's coconut.
Yeah.
Coconut boy.
I think especially if I need to, let's play some gender biases here. I would admit that for a fact that there probably is a lack of vulnerability displayed by men, especially.
I feel for you guys, hey, because I talk about this with my girlfriends all the time. It's like we as women, you know, if you've got, you know, some really good girlfriends, and we hope that, you know, everyone listening does have someone that you can, you know, really offload to and vent to and be really transparent with. You know, if something's going on that's really sort of tough for us girls, we can just pick up the phone and go, hey, can we go out for coffee or, you know, whatever. And it's like, yeah, no worries, let's do it. But that's not to say that you guys don't go through stuff. Like, you're not just going to ring Matt and go, buddy, I'm hurting.
Yeah, you know I don't know. I think it's
socially. It's more socially acceptable for a female to ring another female and debrief or organise a time to debrief, right? For men, I would say not as easy, but I think that's unfair because you guys have just as many. We don't have more problems than you. You just have different problems.
In fact, I'd argue that from a mental health space, probably men have got more.
Possibly, because you have to suppress it more.
Well,
you don't have to. You don't have to suppress it more, but...
Something's going on with your mic.
Better?
Yeah, better? That's much better.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you were saying, sorry? We just have to suppress it.
Yeah, you have to suppress it. Like, it's not the norm for you to have an outlet, or for you to have an outlet, for you to reach out, for you to share I hope that's something that's changing.
Hmm.
I really do.
But I do think there is something inherently, when you look at genders and you look at, I guess, our biological makeup. And I know people like to think that men and women aren't different, but I think there's a massive difference between men and women. And I think, when it comes to that,
Anatomically, if nothing else.
exactly, man, woman.
Yeah. Of course, there are differences.
And I think that there could be this kind of sense of natural, I don't know, reservedness about being vulnerable as men. And you look, to change stuff like that is not going to be something that happens overnight. You're talking who've been like this for millions of years.
And this is
like
this is the best that it is. Yeah.
Tony and Darren don't just start going up and go, "Hey, Tony, just give me a call, man. You know that I'm feeling down at the moment." And
Daz, are you alright? No.
It's going to take time, but I think
but I hope it's changing. I think the more males that go, well, I want to change this. It starts a movement, doesn't it?
Is there anything else you want to touch on in regards to vulnerability?
Yeah, I do. There's something very passionate to my heart, and it's the fact that listeners, viewers, if I can impart nothing else to you than this, there are other words than vulnerability and authenticity.
And they are what?
There are other words. This is, I've talked to you about this. It annoys me. Like vulnerability and like everybody uses that now. And it's like, poor Brene. Everyone's just ripping off her taglines, hashtags.
Yeah, but she started a bit of a movement, don't you think?
Yeah, no, the movement's great. This is nothing against Brene. We love Brene. I just when people are like you overusing authentic, like I don't think I've heard the word authentic more than I have in the last 18 months.
Except for at Italian restaurants, right?
Well, that's okay.
It's authentic Italian.
Yeah, see, that's different. I'm saying people are using authentic everywhere.
Mm.
Could be authentic, Jay. Authentic. Because that's authentic. We want to be authentic. Do you think we have not used the word authentic once?
Until we had to use it.
No. To characterise true colours, not once. Have we used that word?
No.
Have we needed to?
No. We're just being authentic.
We're being authentic without having to say that.
It's like that thing I was telling you the other day. It's like, those people who say that they feel humbled
no.
This is humbling me, right? I feel so humble right now. No, you're actually doing it wrong. You wouldn't say that at all. If you were feeling humbled, you'd be like, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And without you, this would never happen or something. Like
yes, exactly.
Humility is about taking the focus completely off yourself.
Yeah. I feel humbled.
See,
it's like one of the worst things you can basically say.
I don't know.
Yeah. I feel. Yeah. I hate people who say that.
I think grateful's fine.
Grateful is perfect.
If you're feeling grateful for something, but I think if you have to. Oh, but in saying that, I've used the humble a few times.
Yeah.
Humbled.
You would say that out loud.
I'm going to have to reflect on that and get back to you next week. Would I say it out loud? I don't think I would now.
I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you at all.
No, we are not judgmental.
Yeah.
At all.
I feel a sense of
humbling.
I feel humbled by doing this podcast.
I feel humbled by your friendship, Jay. It's
Yeah,
very
thank
humbling.
you.
It's humbling.
Yeah, it's only
I am
been 20
humbled.
years.
And
You're lucky
counting.
you've got me.
I know.
I got you, babe.
All right,
Bit of
Sonny.
what was that band called? UB40. Hey, did you hear on a side note, did you hear Janet Jackson's touring?
Yes, I did. And I'm not going.
No?
For these reasons. Number one, I saw Janet. P.S. I'm a massive, massive Janet Jackson fan. But I saw Janet Jackson. I was watching a film clip. Now she shouldn't have said Janet Jackson. I'm going to go on a whole different tangent now. I was watching the film clip Son of a Gun with her and Missy Elliott the other day, and I
Never
was
heard
just
of it.
like, no disrespect to any of the pop stars or anything today, because I love them. You know, Jason, I love them all. But I was just watching Janet.
Mm.
I'm like, man, that chick is fire. She's
Really?
fire.
What do you mean?
Yeah, okay, guys, Google or YouTube the film clip Son of a Gun, and then you'll understand what I mean. She's just so
I'm gonna do it
cool
right now.
and just such a good performer. She's brilliant.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah, like she's got the old school performing grit. I reckon it's different to today. I feel like today it's more put on, whereas she's just in the pocket. She's wonderful. She's one of my like.
How old is
girls.
Janet Jackson?
I think she'd be a few years, maybe 5 years older than us. Oh no, not you, me. Maybe. We could Google it.
She's got like 6-pack.
Yeah. Are you Googling it now? Just
Yeah,
watch,
I'm watching
watch
it.
her walk. Just watch her walk. She just walks, and you're like, dang, lady.
Janet Jackson's 53.
53. Go, Jay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the reason I'm not going is because, and it's a shame because the Black Eyed Peas are coming as well to Perth, so they're going to do like the R&B festival here.
Friday Night Live or whatever it's called.
Yeah. But I don't want to go because it's going to be like.
It's going to be
not
what?
for my age. Let's
What are you
put it that
talking?
way.
What are you talking about? Everyone who's going to be going is going to be your age. You think young people go to watch Janet Jackson? Young people don't watch Janet Jackson.
Okay, all right. So the clientele will not just be going to see Janet Jackson. They'll be seeing like the whole lineup, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so if you think of it in that perspective, I just don't think I could take it.
Yeah.
Because the reason I need to elaborate. The reason because if I was going to go and see Janet Jackson, I want to appreciate that show because it'll be a good one. It'll be amazing. So I feel like my experience will be compromised by people that don't understand how great she is. That's as diplomatic as I'm going to be.
She's part of the Jackson clan, which takes us to our next topic, which is are people getting offended too easily?
Dun dun dun.
Yes, they are.
What's your take on that, Jay? Bring it.
I'm sick of people getting offended over everything.
Jay, you've always been sick of people being offended by since the day I met you. This is nothing different. This is not a recent development, my friend. This is
but I'm just saying it's getting worse. Like I think when you get to a stage where people are getting angry at comedians for telling jokes, it's like don't listen to the comedian, you idiot. Like
okay, so
don't go.
speaking about what you're saying, right? Just the other day, I was YouTubing again. This is where I get all my entertainment from, clearly. And I was watching Dave Chappelle, and I was watching one of mine and Jay's all-time favourites, Eddie Murphy, right? And I was watching the SNL Buckwheat Nookampanam.
Yeah. Nookampanam.
And on and on, Nookampanam. And I am not like again all over again. I don't think that will ever not make me cry because it's so good. But I can see how people get offended. No, I'm sorry. I don't see how people get offended because that stuff is brilliant. But I know that some people would be offended by that. And I'm like, but why? Why is that offensive? Because that is
If it's funny, you just laugh. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. They're not politicians. They're not people who are leading. If someone says something that offends you, don't listen to them.
For sure, cut them off.
There's also this thing which I've only recently discovered. They call it cancel culture. So what people are doing, right, is say for example Kevin Hart, who's probably who seems to be like one of the nicest people on TV. He's just a likable person, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was about to, and Chappelle talks about this in his latest special, but he was about to be the host of the Oscars. Kevin Hart, I think the last one.
Yeah.
And someone had and someone had found out that 10 years ago he said some joke about how if he found out his son was gay, that he would take a dollhouse and smash it on his head. And like it's a straight up joke, like, but because he said that 10 years ago when the politically correct culture was a lot different to what it is now, they're judging him on today's levels back then. And he had to, and then he had to go out and say sorry to everyone. And I'm like, man, you said something silly. It was a joke. You weren't intending to offend people.
No,
10 years ago, man, the word, I don't need to use it, but 10 years ago, the word gay was used like it was and. Do you know what I mean? Like people were using it left, right, and center. And it wasn't in essence a disrespect to actual gay people. It was just another word to say something else. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I can understand why people don't like it now, but at the end of the day, it's a different time back then. Why would you go back? Are they going to just troll everyone's like history of what they've said online? Look at Eddie.
My suspicion is, I think what they're trying to do, and I can understand the intention behind it, right? I think what they're trying to do is to stamp out any anything derogatory, anything degrading, anything that puts a group of people, or puts anyone down, despite anything, right? So I think it's like, I feel like maybe, Jay, it's like it's an example thing. It's like, let's start this kind of new paradigm where it's just absolutely, we will not accept any disrespectful banter for any group. So it's kind of just like
what a boring
setting.
What a boring world.
Well, yeah. Well, for us, we love comedy. We love it. It's a huge part of our entertainment, massive part of, what we choose to watch and whatever. So I think, Jason, we go in knowing that there's a good chance there's going to be stuff that's not right. But our weird mind thinks that's funny, right?
I think the more offensive, the better.
Well, I think, you know what? I think it's got to a point now where I almost laugh when something's like super offensive, and I'm like, I think I'm laughing more because they went there.
Yeah, it's almost,
Like
it's almost,
so
it's almost being, it's almost, hang on, it's almost a comedian being vulnerable.
comedic vulnerability.
Vulnerability
No,
wait, I can't wait for the headline where it says Dave Chappelle, Sticks and Stones, the most vulnerable hour of comedy.
oh, don't we love Dave? How much do we love Dave?
I absolutely adore the guy.
Oh,
I'm so stewing that I didn't go to see him live. Like I just absolutely love him. I think he is by far he's actually he's at least in my top
yes,
three
yes,
comedians of all
same.
time.
Who,
Like he's
oh,
just so
okay.
funny.
Who would your top three be? Oh,
Like
let's count it out.
like
I'll give you five. I'll give you five.
the weirdest part is like if I said one of them now, it'd be like offensive because he's not liked anymore because he did something. He jerked off in front of women, and
Who? Oh,
Louis C.K.
is
Yeah.
brilliant.
Oh man, Louis C.K. is
Louis
hilarious.
C.K. Oh, it's like where did this dude come from? He is brilliant. Who is this man? I reckon he'd be in my top five.
Yeah, he's easily in my top five. Actually, I think my number one is probably Bill Burr.
Okay.
Have you watched Bill Burr?
Not as much. No. I will go
man.
now.
Get on Netflix and watch Bill Burr. The guy is amazing.
Okay.
Watch his older stuff. It's so good. So good.
I would say, oh man, Chappelle is just.
Chappelle's up there. Like it's hard to pick between.
He's just crazy. But I think what's favourable. I think I would have to give it to Eddie. I just raw, you know.
You couldn't even do those nowadays.
Buckwheat. I mean, buckwheat. So good. But I think Dave would just be like right behind. Or yeah, they would have to be, I think, my top two for sure.
Yeah.
And then I would have my top five would definitely have Seinfeld in there. I think that dude's a genius. He is so smart. He's so smart, man.
This is like one of those people
Super
you'd love to have dinner with.
Like he keeps it real.
Yeah.
I love it. He totally keeps it real. He's really refreshing.
Yeah,
and he's not rude about it, but he keeps it real for sure.
Yeah.
So what's that for? So who have I said? I've said Eddie, Dave, Louis. Seinfeld. Maybe.
I know
maybe give
George.
It to Will Ferrell, maybe.
Will Ferrell, he's not a comedian.
Oh, isn't he? He's more of an actor.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking stand up.
Yeah. There's no women on your list, by the way.
That's got nothing. That's not a.
Yeah, I know. It's because women aren't funny.
Oh!
You see what I did there?
Oh,
that was a joke. That was a joke. Women are funny. Ali Wong. Have you watched her stand-up special?
So funny.
Man, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah. She's so awesome. She's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, there's some good ones. We watched Wine Country, and you told me to watch Wine Country. So good, man. and I have adopted that, hashtag things we say now. Like my girlfriends and I, like we've all had kids, and we're all a bit older now, and like the sciatica in my hip, and I'm like, things we say now.
Yeah. It's what would you give it out of 10?
Wine Country. I'd give it a solid 7.5.
It was a 6.5 for me.
I really liked it. What are we?
Really?
Sorry, what are we? Are we Margaret and David now? It was 6 for me.
Mm.
I miss
Didn't
them,
quite,
Jason. I miss them.
it didn't quite hit my palate. That's all I know.
What, Margaret and David?
No, Wine Country.
Ah, well, it's about middle-aged mums, so I get that.
Well, it had its funny bits.
Oh, funny. I think I can just relate to so much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to being offended.
Yep.
My attempts at being offensive there worked really well, by the way. You got offended.
By one. Yeah,
Hey?
I was offended. See, stuff like that, I'm just like, it doesn't. Okay, here's something about me. If you say something to me, I won't get offended. But if in someone else, maybe it depends who it is. Maybe that's the real key.
The person who's delivering the message. But the other part I find interesting is the people who are offended. No, actually, this is the one that I can't stand. People who are offended for other people.
Let's
you get that?
unpack that, Jay. I think this is something that's really important for both of us.
So
someone
just say
who is upset on the behalf
of a group of people, or
someone who is outraged.
Yeah. So
on the
just
behalf of.
So just say two white people were talking, and someone said a joke that was maybe a little bit offensive, racist, whatever, and they're like, "Oh, how dare you say that?" Yeah, sweet. So, yeah, people get offended for other people. I don't like it. Just get offended for yourself.
I reckon I can get offended on the behalf of other people.
Why?
Because they're people. They're human beings. Like, it's not all the time, not like disproportionately outraged. Like, some people just take it
disproportionately outraged. What is the correct proportion in the outrage meter?
Well, some people take it a bit far, and you get over into Rantville. It's like, are you really offended, or do you just want to have a good rant? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, like, sometimes people might say something about a race or a culture or something. I'm like, I do get offended by it. Don't you?
No, I don't care.
I don't believe you.
I'm funny saying it.
Well, you got offended about animals being mistreated. That offended you?
Yes, that did.
There you go. You're not a cow.
Yeah, but cows can't speak up for themselves unlike other people.
Someone already can't. They've been silent.
You gotta speak up for the voiceless, Sally.
Like the cows.
Like, you know who are the most unoffensive people? Who are the most unoffensive people? Like, who do you feel goes, who?
Go, finish.
Is it Asians?
Oh, they are the most beautiful, honourable, polite. Every encounter I have is delightful. I wish I was nice.
Yeah, I've never.
Mauritians not so nice. We're not lovely as a culture. I wouldn't say that about us.
No, definitely not lovely.
No.
No. Oh, there are some lovely people.
Yeah, but as a race,
yeah,
you wouldn't call us a lovely people.
Yeah. See, this is where I get confused. Like my mum is ultimately like a lovely person who I can't imagine her getting like angry. I don't think I've ever seen her angry. Actually, she's gotten angry at me because I'm an asshole. But
she's got the Mauritian spunk though.
Yeah.
Like, she'll call stuff out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being offended is now the go-to. I'm gonna be honest, the people who annoy me the most in the offensive, I'm kind of getting offended by their offensive, by them getting
Yes.
offended.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
is white people.
That's broad.
It's in general, like how I feel like they want to be the protectors of other people, and
Not all. Like
no,
Matt's not like that, and he's not like that.
the offended type I'm
The
talking
offended
about.
type, great.
Yes, yeah. So and I actually find it a little condescending, to be honest with you. Like no one needs
Like
your help, bro.
We need protection or something.
Yeah, we're big people.
But what would you rather though? Would you rather that, or would you rather like the paradigm never shifted, and it's just an ignorance just perpetuates?
Ignorance all the way. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All the way.
Ignorance all the way. Sometimes I wish I was more ignorant.
Oh,
As in,
ignorance is bliss.
yeah, because when you know too much stuff, like, I got this stuff in. Why do I know? Why do I even care? So it's like that whole idea of, so I remember when I stopped using social media for a long time. I still pretty much hardly use it anymore. It created a shadow of ignorance on what was happening in the world. Like I stopped watching TV. I didn't do social media. It's great. Like you don't.
So I don't know anyone that's taken a break from social media and hated it. Everyone I know that's taken a break from, myself included, is like, it's great. I still use it, but I have had many breaks from social media. It's grand. Speaking of television, have you or do you watch The Bachelor?
I told you about The Bachelor, remember?
No,
I was like,
I
sent you a text message. I'm like, oh, the new Bachelor reminds me a little bit of Matt.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you do. Okay. So you do watch it?
No, I don't.
Right. No, neither do I. Apparently,
I know about it. I think did I watch a season? Like I've somehow got caught into the vortex of a couple of TV shows where for some reason or other, Annie would be watching it. I'm like, I'm just typing along. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, what's going to happen to that person? I need to know.
Right?
And then you just get, then you get stuck in this.
So, tell me if I'm wrong, but the context of Bachelor is women trying to win a man?
Yes, pretty much. That's all it is. From a social experiment perspective, they've figured it out, right? That stuff would be, like, if you were into it, would be amazing to watch. Like, there's a whole bunch of women,
psychologically, like Big Brother. Right.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
I
like,
understand.
some of them might be the sweetheart. The other one might be a real catty one. The other one might be an outright bitch. And you put that all together, and it makes for, that's why it's so popular. Yeah.
Right. So it's about seeing how those dynamics play out. Okay. Thank you. Someone has finally given me a legitimate reason, because I don't watch The Bachelor. I've never seen The Bachelor. I have nothing against The Bachelor, but we don't watch TV much. We watch more YouTube and Netflix, right? So I know that everybody watches The Bachelor. And I'm just like, but doesn't some dude give chicks a rose and some not?
Yeah.
And they're like,
Jesus.
I'm like, what?
So it's a battle royale of women, and they each get eliminated every week, I think. Every week or it's great. Imagine, I have to admit, the sadist in me, my favorite part, I do remember the season that I watched, it was actually the girl. It was a bachelorette actually that I watched.
Yeah.
But watching the people get the flowers was my favorite part. Not getting the flower, I should say. Seeing the
Not
person
getting
lose.
the flower.
Yeah. Seeing the person like demoralized
Oh,
and
Jason.
they didn't pick me. I'm like, oh, you idiot. You deserve this for going on this show anyway.
Did they cry?
Oh, I remember there was one guy who really lost it. You know what's the episode? What was that guy's name? I can remember now. He was like one of the last two, and he thought he was a shoo-in. Like, and she's like at the end was like, it's been a really good time. I've really come to not love you, come to like you a lot, and I've come to know you, and we've got such a special bond, but just friends, bro.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was, and he walked off I remember like the slow motion scene of him walking on the beach, like, what was his name? He was like one of those really red people. He got red. I don't know.
Sorry, fella, whoever you are, we sympathise.
Yeah, so that was the one random season of that I watched. I've got to admit, I don't miss it. It's like, it's not quality viewing at all. It's just terrible.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we should watch some quality viewing and do a little bit of a review next week on something that we choose.
You watch Dave Chappelle and you can pick out his best jokes.
Let's do that. Let's do Dave.
All right, cool. So is there anything you want to add to the discussion today? So is honesty the best policy? We've agreed that yes.
No, we didn't agree. We did not agree. I do not think that honesty is the best policy. I don't.
Honesty.
I think you should just if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. That's the mum. That's the mum in me. No, we didn't agree on that, but that's good. We don't have to agree. We don't want to agree on everything.
No, but honesty policy.
I love a bit of difference in opinion. Difference in opinion is great.
What does it mean to be vulnerable? It means
sincerity and transparency.
Yes.
And so remember, there are other words.
Yeah, okay. You've got to really gripe with people using vulnerable and authentic, right?
Oh, no, not using.
So
note to self,
let's
note to self in future, use Matt's phone.
Yeah, let's just clue everyone in. We've just realised that Sally was using a different phone than she was last week. So if you speak now, Sally.
Hi, Jason.
She sounds extremely clear, unlike probably for the last 40 minutes, but that's okay. We live and we learn.
We're learning and we're loving.
So hopefully, if you've made it to this stage in this discussion, thank you so much for listening.
You didn't tune out after 3 minutes.
Yeah, so thanks. Thank you for listening, and thank you for everyone who actually listened to the first episode. By the way, that's really nice. It was good to see some stats in Philippines, UK.
So who are these Philippines and UK?
Who are these people even listening to us?
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Can they let us know somehow?
Oh, you can leave messages on our. Yeah, so we've got a site on. We've got our details up at Medium. So we're hosting our podcast there. Like when we finish it, obviously you can listen to us across all platforms now, which is awesome. So Spotify, Google Play. What's the other one? Apple iTunes. Anchor is what we host it on, but it distributes it across all those different things. So, I mean, this is our second episode, and as we mentioned, still getting across it all. But I want
to give a little shout out actually to 3 women that are always in our corner. I just want to shout out to Clyde, Eliza, and Bree. They're just always in our corner. Hey, like I think they're mad supporters, and they're just right. I just feel the encouragement and the support. So thanks, ladies.
And you know what the bonus of that is? At least they got that thank you with the good headset, so they could hear it clearly.
Oh yeah, Before that, all I heard was.
All
40
right.
minutes.
So should we wrap that up there? Have you had enough of a? Do you feel like you've gotten your vulnerability gripe out?
No, I never will.
Okay.
I'm a
I think
writer.
you're. I got to
I'm a
admit,
writer,
you're
so-
in this last podcast. You're extremely authentic, Sally.
Well, I felt you were really vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for that. I'm grateful.
Mm.
No, I'm humbled.
You are humbled, and I'm offended by your humility.
That's great. Love it.
And on that note, see you, and I'll speak to you next week.
See you, Joe.
Bye.
Bye, mate. Bye.